now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause when I gon' have matching Ep.533 cruising. Feel like you winning on the.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, or you dislike, or maybe you just want to outsmart me on something I said, hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off of your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but you better go to one of these concerts, one of these basketball games, something, and save yourself $20. Now, in terms of my Falcons, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to going to one of these games next year, especially after all the changes that they've made on this roster. They've made a lot, new coach, new GM, a lot of changes from head to toe in this organization. And it leaves a lot of people wondering what will be next in terms of who they will target in free agency, who will come back to the roster. Will we pay Kyle Pitts? This is the biggest thing that everybody's talking about. And this is one of the biggest things that I want to target specifically is paying Kyle Pitts. Now, Kyle Pitts, initially, a couple months ago, I said, Falcons cannot pay Kyle Pitts. It's not going to be possible to pay him that much money. Not enough cap space in the Falcons bank account right now. There's just not enough space to be able to do these type of things. However, it's possible now because thanks to Kirk Cousins, he really showed out and showed up because this man restructured his contract. Now he's going to be possibly released or traded to another team because his contract is less top heavy, as you could say. That's the best example I can give. A lot of the money that the Falcons agreed to pay him is now put on the back burner, on the back end. But if he's released before a particular date, I believe it's coming up in February or March, then we don't have to pay Kirk Cousins that money, and it's now belongs to the new team. But his contract is more feasible for a new team to pick him up because he restructured it. So this helps the Falcons tremendously. And blah, 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 blah about Kirk Cousins. Ultimately, this freed up about $27 million in cap space for this following year of 2026, this offseason. And I'm so excited because now we have a lot of different options in how the Falcons can use this. So I want to revisit the initial question. Can the Falcons pay Kyle Pitts? Absolutely. We now have the money to pay Kyle Pitts, and I'm so excited about this. Some people say we even have money to pay George Pickens, which is a little bit of a stretch, but we'll discuss. We'll talk about the whole George Pickens possibly coming to Atlanta thing. It's possible, but let's focus on Kyle Pitts first before we jump too far ahead. Now, Falcons, again, projected to have about $27 million in cap space, maybe $28 million. But initially, a lot of people, including myself, are saying the Falcons should franchise tag Kyle Pitts. That estimated franchise tag for Kyle Pitts would possibly be around $15 to $16 million per year, really 1 year. And then the following year, we would have to extend Kyle Pitts. The way I look at things now, it's pointless for the Falcons to franchise tag Kyle Pitts, especially since we have the money, because if we wait to pay Kyle Pitts another year, the salary cap is only going to increase. So instead of paying Kyle Pitts maybe $20 million a year, we might even be looking at $23 to $24 million a year because there's a lot of tight ends top of the line that's already making just about $20 million a year. So let's review. Paying Kyle Pitts is going to be a little bit cheaper in a sense because now we don't have to pay him as much per year. So if we franchise tag him, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot because we're delaying the process of paying him a certain amount. We have the money, let's go ahead and pay him. And when I think about the number of what we would have to pay him if we did not franchise tag Kyle Pitts is maybe between 18 to 21 million. So it's a little bit more than that estimated 15 million for a franchise tag. But at least this way, if we outright pay Kyle Pitts 18 to 21 million, maybe even 22 million per year, and that sets us about 80 million for 4 years, this just sets us up for the long run, and it's cheaper down the stretch because the salary cap is going to increase. Right now, and you know, it's a little scary. It's a little scary looking at this with the increase, but I think it's well deserved. It's a very good chance Kyle Pitts becomes the highest paid tight end in the NFL. And a lot of things go to the salary cap increasing, which is a big reason. But last offseason, we seen George Kittle, who's 32 years old, sign a 4-year, $76 million deal, which is about $19 million a year. Then on the other hand, Trey McBride signed a big deal last year as well for about $19 million a year, 4 years, $76 million. And even crazier, Travis Kelce signed a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal that was for $17 million a year. So Kyle Pitts, who's coming off of his best season, 25 years old, huge amount of potential, showed what he can do when he actually has good targets and a solid game plan where the quarterback is throwing him the ball. Yes, he's definitely going to get at least $19 million coming up in this offseason. So I wouldn't doubt if the Falcons possibly gave Kyle Pitts 18 to 21 mil, and it's definitely doable with this amount of money that we have in cap space right now. So the way we would have to kind of process this for it to make sense and for it to not hurt us as much is we have to backload the contract. So let's say Falcons do sign Pitts, and I'm on board with this. So I would love for the Falcons to sign Kyle Pitts for a 20, 21 million a year type of contract, 4 years, 80 mil. He's going to break the bank, and he's probably going to become the highest paid tight end. I mean, hey, you got guys like George Kittle, who's 32, breaking the bank, highest paid tight end, and now the salary cap is increasing. So I just see Kyle Pitts getting a bag. I see him getting a tremendous bag, and it's actually worth it because this is a guy who's coming off his best season of his career. He became the second tight end in NFL history to have 1,000 receiving yards as a rookie. So literally since he got drafted, he's shown his potential. Last year, he broke a franchise record of most receiving yards in a 4-game span with the Atlanta Falcons. He's also almost, I don't even want to misquote it, so I'm not even going to say that part. But we know what type of season Kyle Pitts had. And now that the Falcons have the money to do it, they got to go ahead and just open up the checkbooks, pay him. Now, if you restructure it in a way, or you structure the deal in a way where it's not killing us year by year, then we can have some success. So what a lot of teams in the NFL do, although the average amount will say, oh, well, Kittle is getting an average of 19 million per year, or Trey McBride is getting 19 million per year. A lot of times what these teams do, the first couple of years, they'll give you maybe 4 million, 6 million, and then they'll backload the contract like crazy toward the back end. So the last 3 to 4 years of that contract, that's when the star is seeing the most money. So I think the Falcons should go this route with Kyle Pitts, especially since he's probably going to be the highest paid tight end in the NFL, considering the salary cap, considering the season he just came off of, and what everyone else as a tight end is making in the NFL. So they got to backload this contract. That way they can still have money to bring back other guys on the roster. D. Alford, whether it's Leonard Floyd, who's a veteran presence there. You got a lot of guys who you definitely want to bring back. So you'll still have some money to bring back those guys. And even better, you might even have more money to be able to finally extend Drake London and Bijan Robinson. And that's ultimately what you really want. So I know I'll touch on the George Pickens thing in a minute, but this is the main priority. You want to lock down the guys of Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. You can secure Kyle Pitts this season, backload the contract, and then give Drake London his money because he's going to be up for a contract as well. You want to do it sooner rather than later, because the more you wait to pay your star players, the more that price is going to go up. If we extend Drake London now and Bijan Robinson this offseason, it's going to be much more less than what we'll have to do if we wait 2 years until Bijan Robinson's contract is up and the salary cap increases even more. So yes, it's going to look like we're paying these guys a crazy bag. And yes, Kyle Pitts might become the highest paid tight end, where it looks like a crazy, crazy bag of him getting 21, 22 mil per year, which will total out about 80, 82 million out of 4 years. Yes, it's going to look a little nuts, but on the flip side, down the line, that salary cap is only going to increase. Most guys who become the highest paid at their position, it only lasts for about 1 to 2 seasons because that salary cap is increasing time after time. So I see no problem with the Falcons making Kyle Pitts the highest paid, and I just think it's going to happen. And it's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, the whole thing here here's where to get a little crazy, because when people start saying we got to add George Pickens into the mix, who's an elite free agent, this is where I see a little tension, because I truthfully don't really see it being a way where the Falcons can bring on George Pickens. As much as I would love for George Pickens to play alongside Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts, it's going to be tough to even break that down and put a fantasy scenario behind that in the salary cap, because even if we backload the contracts like crazy, you're still looking at a guy who's probably going to be averaging about 30 mil a year in George Pickens and also Drake London, because both of these guys are elite wide receivers. And you just look at what some of the fourth and fifth highest paid wide receivers are making right now, and it's a minimum of 30 mil a year. So it's gonna be a crazy price to be able to extend Drake London and also be able to pay George Pickens. Now, I'm on the side of believing anything is possible with these NFL GMs. If you can cook up the numbers and you can manipulate the numbers and manipulate the contracts in a certain way, I'm almost positive we wouldn't be the first to be able to do that. But it's something that's going to be incredibly difficult. I can't really see us and envision us being able to extend. Well, first, let's start. I can't even see us being able to pay Kyle Pitts maybe $82 million for 4 years, then turn around being able to sign George Pickens, who's going to get a bag for a minimum of $30 million per year, which is going to be over $100 million contract, which you'll have to backload, and then turn around and get Drake London another $30 million contract as well, or an extension. It's going to be tough. And then, wait. You got Bijan Robinson too, best running back in the NFL, who's also going to collect a bag and probably going to be looking at just shy of $100 million, if not overseeding $100 million into a 4-year time span. So it's going to be tough to be able to retain all of the guys we have, the core that we have, and also bring in George Pickens. I don't really see that happening, but hey, man, there's a way. I've seen crazier things happen in the NFL where guys have manipulated these numbers and figured out some sort of financial way to do it. So it is possible. I just personally don't know it, but with the $28 million that the Falcons have in the cap space now, it would be tough to be able to kind of backload that stuff. And again, thanks to Kirk Cousins, the Falcons even have room to be able to manipulate these numbers to pay Kyle Pitts and possibly extend Drake London and Bijan, but yet along bringing in another $30 million a year type of contract. I don't know if that would happen. I just genuinely don't know if that would happen, man. Like, I'm looking at some of the guys here. With George Pickens is at least, at minimum, getting 30 mil a year, especially the season he's had with the Cowboys and showing how valuable he can be to a team. Jamar Chase is at 40 mil a year, Justin Jefferson 35 mil, CeeDee Lamb at 34 mil. Then you go a little further, Amon-Ra at 30 mil. So I'm sure George Pickens is at least minimum getting 30 mil a year, considering these other guys before him are making more than 30 mil. So I wouldn't even be surprised if George Pickens get a bigger bag than a lot of these guys on this list. So with the Falcons projected 28 million, I would be shocked if they somehow made this happen and manipulated the contract in a way where we pay a lot of the money later on the back end of the contract and was able to retain him to Atlanta. I would be very, very shocked. So, but again, anything can happen. Who knows?
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Nunca es tarde para aprender algo nuevo, pero tu sistema inmunológico no aprende igual con los años. Las vacunas ayudan a entrenar y reforzar al sistema inmunológico para combatir influenza, neumonía neumocócica, RSV y COVID-19. Tal como tú aprendes algo nuevo, tu sistema inmunológico también aprende a defenderte de enfermedades respiratorias. Verifica tu elegibilidad y haz tu cita en vaxassist.com/ES. Presentado por Pfizer.
Look, let's jump into the news, man. Let's hear about these news and all these coaches that's happening or that have a new home in the NFL, really. So let's do it. So obviously, as you know, there was over, I believe, 10 teams in the NFL after the season ended that needed a head coach and that ended up finding a head coach. So let's just break this down. I want to share the screen too so you can kind of look at some of the people and review some of the people as well. So let's start with the first team here, the Tennessee Titans. They needed a head coach. All of these teams needed a head coach, which is just wild. Absolutely crazy. Okay, so Tennessee Titans, they hired Brian Daboll as their head coach, former head coach of the New York Giants, who was fired. The Los Angeles Chargers, they didn't hire a head coach, but they did hire a new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel, which is a great hire. This is someone who was the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins and was relieved of his duties. And a lot of teams wanted Mike McDaniel to come call the offense. So this is a huge pickup for the Los Angeles Chargers. The Kansas City Chiefs, they also did not get a new head coach, but they did get a new offensive coordinator. And this offensive coordinator, he was once the Chiefs coordinator before, but Eric Bieniemy, he was there when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill. Those multiple times they took a Super Bowl trip and just had an unstoppable offense, kind of helped Pat Mahomes become an early candidate to be the GOAT of this era. But that's definitely going to be good for the Chiefs, especially coming back next year. They might not have Travis Kelce, so it'll be interesting to see. Lions, they did bring in a new head coach, or not a new head coach. That is incorrect. They brought in a new offensive coordinator. And Drew Petzing. Yeah, I don't know too much about him, but they did bring him in. Miami Dolphins, they brought in a new offensive coordinator as well. They did finally get a new head coach. I will review that in just a sec. Commanders, they brought in a new offensive coordinator. These are a lot of offensive coordinator positions. And actually, this just reminded me that I am on the wrong list. But to give a correction to something I said incorrectly about the Tennessee Titans, Brian Daboll is not the head coach. He is the offensive coordinator there. And this is the head coach list here for everyone who is on the stream. So the Tennessee Titans did not hire Brian Daboll. I knew he joined the staff, but it was Robert Saleh. I thought that sounded a little weird. So Titans hired Robert Saleh as the head coach, who was formerly the New York Jets head coach. And then he also went to coach the 49ers defense and now became the Tennessee Titans head coach. But he brought on offensive coordinator Brian Daboll to call the plays on the offensive side of the ball. The Buffalo Bills, they got a head coach. Joe Brady, who was the former offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, stepped up, became the head coach. Steelers, they brought in Mike McCarthy after parting ways with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, he stepped down. He didn't get fired, stepped down from the Steelers, and the Steelers brought in Mike McCarthy, which is crazy. Ravens, they brought in Jesse Minter, who was on the Rams, or I think it was the Chargers. Could be wrong, but he is a first-time head coach. Giants brought in John Harbaugh, former Ravens head coach. The Atlanta Falcons, as you know, brought in Kevin Stefanski. I talk about it all the time. Still not super happy about it, but we're figuring it out. We're being optimistic. Miami Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley. Tennessee Titans, as I said, Robert Saleh. Cleveland Browns up there, they hired Todd Monken, who is the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of people wanted Jim Schwartz, who's the defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns, to step up and be the head coach, but the Browns decided to go a different direction, and this did create a little tension, at least per sources of the media. This is what the media has said. Other than that, you have the Arizona Cardinals. They brought in Mike LaFleur, not Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is still the coach of the Green Bay Packers. Mike LaFleur is a completely different person. And the Los Angeles Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders, they, not 100% official, but it's said that they will land Clint Kubiak, the Seahawks offensive coordinator, as their new head coach. So congrats to them. I'm happy for Clint Kubiak. I wanted Clint Kubiak in Atlanta, but obviously things didn't go down that way. And I mean, I wish them the best. Raiders, they got a lot of salary cap. They got a lot of space. They get another first round pick in the NFL draft. So that'll be huge for them. And again, man, a lot of money to spend this offseason for the Raiders. So we'll see what they do. But let's go ahead and just kind of bring up some of the Atlanta Falcons staff here, because this staff on the Atlanta Falcons, obviously new staff from head to toe. And I just want to break down some of the candidates and just like how I'm feeling about everything that they have going on. So obviously president of football, this was a newly created position. Matt Ryan, former MVP, stepped in, became president of football. The GM of the Atlanta Falcons was recently hired, Ian Cunningham. Happy about that. I can't really complain about that. Ian Cunningham has been credited for a lot of the Chicago Bears pick. He was the assistant GM with the Chicago Bears, so doesn't get a lot of credit, but he's said to have a really good eye to have picked out a lot of the talent that the Bears chose in the draft. Loveling being one of those guys, Caleb Williams being one of those guys. And it seems like he's pretty level-headed in terms of not following the hype of certain draft candidates and just picking based on skill and personality. So I'm content with Ian Cunningham. And then head coach here, we have Kevin Stefanski for the Atlanta Falcons. Defensive coordinator, Jeff Arbich came back. Offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees, who was the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. And there is many guys who follow Kevin Stefanski to this Atlanta Falcons staff who were from the Cleveland Browns. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, man. It's a little concerning. I'm a little concerned that the Falcons have brought over so many people who were from the Cleveland Browns staff. Now, not necessarily in the front office and in terms of coordinator or head coach positions and things like that. Now, obviously, head coach is the only Cleveland Brown guy that we brought over, and then offensive coordinator is the main sources. But there's a lot of position guys, receiving position, we just brought over from the Cleveland Browns. There's, I think, pass game coordinator as well we just brought over from the Cleveland Browns. And I could be wrong, but quarterbacks coach also came from the Cleveland Browns. So Atlanta Falcons have picked up a lot of coaches that were from the Cleveland Browns. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not incredibly happy about it. I'm a little nervous about it because this is a Browns team who didn't even win 7 games. And now half the staff on the offensive side of the ball is coming to play with the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm a little concerned. It's scary. I'm trying my best to really stay optimistic that Stefanski knows what he's doing and he has a good judge of character of who knows good football players and who doesn't, and who can develop good football players and who cannot. So I'm trying my hardest to trust Stefanski, but I'd be lying if I told you it was easy, especially considering he's bringing a lot of the guys who were on that Cleveland Browns staff over to the Atlanta Falcons. It's just scary, man. I don't want a bunch of losers to come over, and that's really my biggest fear is like that Stefanski, who's someone who really didn't win that much with the Cleveland Browns. I know, 2 playoff appearances, coach of the year 2 times. I get it, all of that. But truthfully, he didn't win that much with the Cleveland Browns. And that's a hard thing to do, of course, winning with the Cleveland Browns. But now, not only is he bringing guys, or not only did we bring him who doesn't win that much with the Cleveland Browns, but now he's bringing other guys that were with the Cleveland Browns that didn't win a lot either. So we got almost, I'm trying not to look at it this way, but we kind of got a staff full of guys who don't know how to win. And that's what concerns me on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Jeff Arbridge and his staff on the defensive side, a lot of those guys are still retained, it gives me a lot of hope. But the offensive side, we gotta kick it into gear, man, because there's so much talent on this offensive side of the ball. And I would just be devastated to see this offensive side of the ball, the talent over there, be wasted again. I mean, that's what we've seen the past 3 years. Bijan's talent being wasted, Kyle Pitts being wasted, Drake London, Penix, we've seen a lot of guys' talent being wasted on this Atlanta Falcons offense. And we've seen a glimpse of some potential, but ultimately, they haven't been consistent. So that's what I'm a little concerned about with this staff and us bringing a lot of guys from the Cleveland Browns on the offensive side of the ball. It's just a little concerning, but who knows, man? Maybe I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. And this is an instance where I hope I've been wrong about Stefanski all this time in terms of him not being a winning coach, him not really understanding how to develop quarterbacks, and it's a lot of negative things I could say about Kevin Stefanski and also the other guys he's bringing on staff that were with the Cleveland Browns. It's a lot of negative things I can think of and say, but I'm really trying to be optimistic. And I just hope I'm wrong, and I hope they really prove me and everybody else who's doubtful of this offensive staff wrong in terms of them being able to produce on the field. I'm just a little nervous. That's all I can say. Other than that, though, look, man, that's all I got for you. We do have actually another part of the episode. I don't even know why I was about to jump ship like that. Another part of the episode we do have with Travis Hicks. So don't go anywhere. We're jumping into that right now with the Super Bowl preview and things we want to see in the Super Bowl. Let's do it. Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. We're going out to Cincinnati today because we got the special guest, Travis Hicks, in the building today with us. What's going on? He's actually online, so not in the building, but
hey, it's always a pleasure talking sports with you, Manny. Always my favorite person to debate sports with. You know, it's nice to have a regular spot on this podcast, I gotta say, because you do so much great content. I'm just a fan of your work, man, so I'm excited to get to it. Man, I appreciate it. You know you got the golden seat, man. Yeah, you know you got full clearance. You can come on here anytime you want, whatever. It don't even matter. But no, man, we have something to discuss. So, all right, I think it's only fair that I acknowledge this from way back in the beginning. So you mentioned, you've been on the podcast some time now. And before the season started, you had a take. And you didn't say it exactly, but you did pretty much, you kind of called it in a sense. And I'll probably put the audio on the actual pod episode, but right now I don't have it up in here. But you pretty much said the team to watch out for and the team you curious about, want to look forward to watching was the New England Patriots. And all of a sudden, these dudes is in the Super Bowl. Like this is nuts. So with this team being in the Super Bowl, what are you expecting to see from the Patriots? And are they going to fall and flunk or just lay down and get rolled over? Or like what's about to happen in this Super Bowl? Manny, I had the script before the season started. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like as I told you, Drake May, who will probably come in second in the MVP, I think he had a great season. I've been a believer in him. I think he's a great quarterback. I will be honest, though. He hasn't had the greatest postseason. Defense has got them there. But this Patriots team is different than from a year ago. And to see a team that won less than 5 games now win, 12 plus this year and be in the Super Bowl is tremendous. I had a feeling their defense was going to get them there. Mike Vrabel, I'm saying, and Drake May just had a terrific season. Stephon Diggs has been good. So I think they're a great team. However, they will not win the Super Bowl. Oh, they're going to lose to the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold has the best story right now. Back-to-back 14-3 seasons on 2 different teams. Sam Darnold's been doubted. He's the only quarterback from class of 2018 to make the Super Bowl. So I think Sam Darnold, he beat my boy Stafford. I was hurt, but Sam Darnold's been amazing all postseason. I think they're going to finish the job and beat New England. Yeah, I think it's going to happen too. I'm surprised we're on the same page because I know you really like Drake May. So I was full on expecting you to come in here and talk about some Patriots about to win the Super Bowl. But I know there's somebody out here in this atmosphere and in this world that really believe the Patriots going to win the Super Bowl. And there's probably a lot of people, actually. But one of the things here, number 1 scoring offense versus number 1 scoring defense, that's kind of been the story of it.
And I think you hit it on the nail. I got the Seahawks winning this game too. Drake May, he has been really good in the regular season, but in the postseason, he ain't been like that. I have not been impressed by Drake May all postseason. If I just tuned in to football and only watched the playoffs, to me, it looks like the Patriots is just heavily reliant on that defense. And I don't think they'll be able to rely on that defense to win them the full ball game against the Seattle Seahawks. Because when you look at every little thing you do, don't look at the statistics for a second, but just look at the football games and what we've witnessed all through the playoffs. The Seattle Seahawks do literally everything better than the New England Patriots. Maybe some defensive things you could talk about, okay, the secondary, but that Seattle Seahawks secondary is very elite. Maybe you want to bring up the defensive line on the defenses when you're comparing them. But from what I see, definitely on the offensive side of the ball, the Seattle Seahawks do everything better than the New England Patriots. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think it's fair to say they do everything better than the New England Patriots either. Now, not statistically, but when I'm looking at the eye test, that's just what I see.
I kind of got to agree with you, Manny. I think, like, unless Drake May can turn into MVP form like how he was playing during the regular season, I just don't see it because he's already played the best defenses in these playoffs. You know, he played the Chargers. The Texans had a great defense. Yep. Even though C.J. Stroud was literally throwing, like, he was throwing the game, and Texans still kept him in it. And, like, then obviously the the snow game. So I kind of give him a little bit, you know, credit, like, not trying to be too hard on him, but Drake May, you got to play better. You got to have a game where you're throwing over 200 yards. Because if we're being honest, the Super Bowl was last weekend. Stafford versus Sam Darnold, that was a game for the ages. And I'm so sad Stafford, that last pass at the end of the game, I wanted Puka to get out of bounds to have a chance for a Hail Mary. I know it's another story for another day, but I just had to point that out. But no, I just think the Seattle team is just so complete with how Sam Darnold's playing. And also, who I think is going to be the X factor, who's not getting talked about a lot, Michigan State alum, Kenneth Walker.
Yes,
I think he's going to have a great game. I know New England has also a great defense, but Kenneth Walker has been dangerous, man. He's been able to get those third and short pickups, and also like the little screenplay that Sam Darnold and them do, like on 3rd and 7 where he's rolling out, then they'll do the screen to Kenneth. I just think Seattle's just going to be too much, man. The way they just been playing, unless Drake May has a game like he had during the regular season, I don't think there's no way they beat Seattle. Yeah. The only way they can stay in this game with Seattle is if the defense just has, you know, one of those legendary New England type defensive games that we've seen in, you know, 6 Super Bowls before with Brady.
Yeah, and you know, I will say this. A lot of people say, oh, well, like Drake May, okay, yeah, you can't really say he's been playing bad. He's played top defenses in every round of the playoffs. This is true. Drake May has played 3 elite defenses. But what those offenses been doing, and I know the Patriots defense is good. I want to give them credit. They've been locked down. I will say, although most of the games have been boring with the Patriots, the defense puts on a show. They definitely lock in and lock down on that defensive side of the ball. However, those offenses have been bad all year, man. Like when people bring up, oh, well, Drake May, he beat these elite defenses and these teams that weren't bad. A lot of these offenses have been bad all year long. The only test that would have really happened would have been if Bo Nix was able to play in that AFC Championship game. But unfortunately, we will never know how that would have resulted. So it just, I'm not really on the side of Drake May. And it just makes me think, too, with him being the leader of this team, is that Patriots dynasty back?
Honestly, my answer might shock you. I do think they're going to be very good for a long time. And I do think they can win championships. I do think Drake May is going to get better. This is his first full year as a starter, and he's got them to the Super Bowl. Like, I don't want people to think just because I'm not picking him to win this year, he's not going to be back. Drake May is very good. New England, I'm telling you, they got a young team. I'm not going to say it's a dynasty just yet, but they could definitely win championships. Drake May will probably win a Super Bowl before his career is over. I definitely believe that.
I'll give you that before his career is over. In terms of the dynasty, I don't think the dynasty's back. So? Nah, man, I can't just sit here and say the dynasty is back when we seen the playoffs with no Joe Burrow, with no Lamar Jackson, no Pat Mahomes. Like, I can't sit here and say the dynasty is back, man. It's too many other factors that went into effect this season for me to just go out here and throw it out there that this Patriots dynasty is back, because we also can't forget the Patriots only played 3 playoff teams the whole year and they lost one of them games. So it's like they had the easiest schedule, one of the easiest roads in the playoffs as well. And I just think it's one of them years where, hey, everything falls in line for you, and genuinely, it takes some luck to win a Super Bowl. Like, I don't think everybody understands. Like, luck plays a big part of actually winning the Super Bowl. And if the Patriots were to actually win it come Sunday, cool for them, good for them. And I ain't gonna say Drake May won't ever get another if they were to win this past Sunday or this upcoming Sunday. I'm sorry. But I just don't, I can't sit here and say the dynasty is back. I don't see them getting anywhere near as many championships as they did in the past decade or the previous decade. I don't see it happening.
I'll say this: he's definitely not. Brady is a go. He's not going to win 6. Like Drake May's definitely not.
I don't think he's going to win 3. Like even then,
I think. Well, 3. Yeah, it's hard to win a lot of Super Bowls unless you have Brady or like a Mahomes. So I give you that. I think Drake May will at least win 1. It won't be this year, but I do think he can compete with those guys, because the guys you named outside of Mahomes, they haven't won Super Bowls either. Joe Burrow is a guy who's lost in the playoffs, but he's also been to a Super Bowl. And Lamar Jackson's kind of a playoff choker at times, and he's had games where he's a great regular season guy. So Drake May already has as many playoff wins this year as Lamar does in his entire career. So I'm just saying, with Drake May, we do got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He can compete with these guys. So don't get me wrong, it will be harder, because we also can't ignore Josh Allen. I know this was supposed to be his year. He sadly failed once again.
Man.
But I do think 1 or 2. I'm not going to say 3 or 4, but I do think Drake May can get 1 or 2. So actually, I can't say it's a dynasty, because 1 or 2 is not like a dynasty. But I do think the Pats are going to be very competitive for years to come. Like AFC Championship games, I do believe that.
Okay, I can see. I'll give somebody that. I'll give you that. Maybe he'll go back to a couple more AFC Championship games, because that defense is very elite, and I think clearly at this point, if you don't believe in Mike Vrabel, then I don't know what football you've been watching. He's turned that team around from head to toe, and you got to give him his credit. So I think they'll definitely be in good hands with Mike Vrabel, and I could see them having some playoff success. But I would be very shocked if I seen another Super Bowl, truth be told, yet alone 2 more or anything more than 2. I would be just shocked personally. And I don't think they'll get this one. So he'll probably have to keep fighting, because this Seahawks team is elite. And, some say this Seahawks team is better than that Seahawks team back in Super Bowl 51. I don't know. I don't know the exact Super Bowl. Whatever one, they had Marshawn Lynch, and they played the Patriots last time. And for some reason that nobody has ever been able to figure out, Pete Carroll decided to throw the ball instead of give it to Marshawn Lynch. So some people say this Seahawks team is better than that Seahawks team. I don't really agree. I don't think I can give them that leeway, but it's very close.
I think this Seahawks team, you might make a case. I think they are better. Now, hear me out. Sam Darnold is playing just as good, if not better, than what Russell Wilson did in that time period. Now, the defense, you can make it. Legion of Boom is arguably the greatest defense of our generation. Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, those boys were amazing. But this Seahawks team, what they did to Brock Purdy earlier in these playoffs, 41-6, they don't get me wrong, Stafford had a great game, but Seattle has been consistent throughout the entire season, holding teams under 20, the top scoring defense. I think the Seattle team collectively, they had a cap it off of a Super Bowl, but I think it's better than that Legion of Boom team, because this team right now, they've just been so dominant. 14-3, and honestly, the toughest Division II in football. You got to think the 49ers were very good. The Rams have the MVP. Now the Cardinals, but everybody has their little brother in every division.
Facts.
But those 3 teams were elite. So that's why I'm saying this Seattle team is better than Legion of Boom, because collectively the division, when Legion of Boom won it, wasn't as good as this division. Don't get me wrong. I know they had Colin Kaepernick. Those 49er teams, those were good. But I don't think collectively they were as good as those Rams and 49ers teams is now, because Brock Purdy is balling. We can't say Mr. Relevant anymore. He's a really great quarterback. He's been to a Super Bowl. And the way Stafford was balling, for Seattle to make it out that division and make it to the Super Bowl, if they cap it off with a ring, they're better than the Legion of Boom collectively as a team.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to argue the defense, I'll give you Legion of Boom had a better defense, but collectively as a team, I'm taking Sam Darnold over Russell Wilson. I'm talking about as like collectively.
Damn, that's tough. That's tough. I don't think you're wrong. And I was like, I genuinely, I want to disagree with you because that Seahawks team was so much fun, but it's tough because thinking about even just from a personnel standpoint, like this current Seahawks team, I think they got to beat from a personnel standpoint. Veteran receiver Cooper and Kupp, you got JSN, and then what Sam Darnold has been doing, Kenneth Walker. Like from a personnel standpoint of just watching these guys, and I know statistics might say something different, but just watching these guys, it's tough. It's kind of hard to go in a different route saying this team is not better than that 2013 Seattle Seahawks team. So I don't know, man. I hope they capitalize with a ring. I did really enjoy watching that previous Seahawks team in the Super Bowl, and I thought they should have won it. And I thought, man, I just knew that game was sealed and wrapped up, and I knew it was wrapped up with a bow when Marshawn Lynch was at the goal line. I'm like, oh, I bet. Here it go right here. It's it. This is it. Seahawks champions. Like,
as a Brady fan, I do got to admit I was very happy Pete Carroll made a great play call. Malcolm Butler, thank you.
And this,
Brady get another ring.
And this is why Rob, I was about to say, this is why Rob says what he says. And I don't completely disagree with Rob because him saying Brady is the low. But Rob saying Brady is the low, and he's saying Brady's the luckiest quarterback of all time. He's not necessarily wrong because this was an instance where this is ridiculous, but that's another conversation. But go ahead.
I'll just say this one last part about it. We all have a group chat, me, Manny, and Rob. We talk sports a lot. I'm not going to get in detail about all the sports we talk, but Rob is wrong about Brady. To the viewing public, just know about that. And I love Rob, but he's wrong about Brady.
Is he wrong about Belichick too? He packaged them together. He like both cheaters at the same. Both of them are cheaters.
I'll be honest. I do think Belichick's a GOAT coach, but first ballot. I mean, the cheating it did come up to him. So
that's insane, though, bro. That's insane. And you know, me being a fan of a certain team, I definitely have a lot of animosity towards the Patriots. No matter what, I never want to see the Patriots succeed. And the fact that happened against my team, it's crazy. It's just sort of things I don't even know how to explain it. Like a person. You know how we joke about script writers. I'll leave it at this. You know how we joke about script writers in the NFL. Nobody with a sane brain can cook up some stuff like that. I just don't think it can happen. Some of these ways that Brady has won, it is a little suspect. It is just a little suspect.
As a Brady fan, 6 out of his 7 rings comeback wins. He's the clutchest player of all time. 28-3, down 24-14. I'm just saying, Manny, but hey, that's like you said, that's the
zebras, bro.
Day, but I'm willing to die on that hill for Brady. That's my favorite player.
That's the zebras, bro. Them zebras be helping him out, man. In the league, I don't know what it's crazy. I'll give him his respect. Hey, GOAT, whatever. Ain't nobody else got 7 rings and he left the Patriots and went to go get another ring. Like
at 43, he beat Rodgers, Breeze, and Mahomes at Super Bowl run. Just saying, at 43, too.
It's crazy. I respect it. I'm just saying it's a little. You don't find that suspicious? The quote.
I'll say Brady's definitely got lucky. I'll say this as a Brady fan, he's 7-3 in Super Bowls. He could easily be 3-7. It's true. Like a lot of those plays, like the tip pass where Julian Edelman caught it in the Falcons game where almost hit, sorry to bring it up. But also, Brady could be 10-0 if it wasn't for the David Tyree and Mario Manningham and Nick Foles having the best game of his life.
It's always something, bro. It's always something with Brady, man. That's why I ain't even gonna get to it. But I respect it. He's the GOAT, whatever. He's the GOAT, but he's damn sure a lucky GOAT. He's the lucky GOAT. Best believe if Pat catch him, I will be shouting Pat Mahomes is the GOAT. I will be, and it ain't much better compared to like in terms of cheating and all of that. It ain't that much better, but at least patting them. If they are cheating, they ain't get caught.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that. But look, man, hey, let the people know where they can find you, Trav. I appreciate you coming on as always, but let the people know where they can check out some of your work.
Manny, appreciate you always having me on, and everybody can follow me on Instagram at Travis_Hicks_reporter and Twitter Travis_reporter, and YouTube is Travis6_reporter, and Facebook's just Travis Hicks. It's always a pleasure talking sports with Manny.
I appreciate that, man. Of course, we're gonna have to bring you back on coming up on the basketball season.
Yes, Pistons. Let's go.
Our boys first in the East, We've been smacking everybody. I think we only lost 4 games in the month of January. Woo! We've been balling, man. What I want to do, and I know I told you I got to take off in a minute. But what I really want to do, I want to get Eric on here with us at the same time.
Oh, I would love that.
And he'll do it. It's just obviously, he's covering the Pistons, so he's got to be at all the games and stuff. But I got to get Eric on here so we can all talk Pistons about this glorious team, the best team in the NBA, the best team in the league. You know. But to those who listening, they gotta understand. So that's what we're pivoting to. Basketball season is gonna be a lot of Pistons content. Hence the Super Bowl. Obviously, we'll review the Super Bowl, but once that's done, then probably free agency and be rolling strong on these basketball topics. So, but other than that, man, look, that's all I got. I'll leave you guys with this as the positive note. Positive note is just gonna be continue to put one foot in front of the other, regardless of what you see in front of you. So sometimes it looks really dark, sometimes it looks cloudy, sometimes you don't even know what the hell you're looking at. But just continue to put a foot in front of the other, and hey, man, you'll be at a destination that you can enjoy. So I'll leave it at that. Other than that, man, that's all I got for y'all. So we'll be back later on this week, or next week, actually, and so on and so on and so on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.